On the dot, Jared.
All right.
On the dot. All right. Well, I think that's a good sign, to be honest. I think you know what that really means, Jared. We have some good untranslatables coming your way very soon.
It's just a sign of what's to come.
That's right. A little foreshadowing for today.
Yeah.
And for every episode, to be fair. But hey.
It's not sending me through my normal bouts of rage hearing that song play right now. Not at all.
Hopefully not. You know, I hope our listeners, they hear it and they feel nice and calm, nice and relaxed.
Nice and calm, nice and relaxed.
Staying breezy, people. Getting you hyped after listening to our other song that we'll talk about later that will definitely get you hyped.
Do you think this song gets you more hype or less hype than our song of the
pod? Puts me in different types of hype. This is like, we're about to do this podcast. I'm excited. The other one, it's more like this song is epic. And it's different. I wrote this one. This one is nowhere as fancy as the other one. Let's be real here, Jared. It's a solid introduction song, but it's no attack by Silent Siren. But we'll get to that later. And hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. It's good to see you again here, Jared, back at the Azul Moose Studios. And we are inside today because it's a cold one. Well, you tend to wear your hat more, but I've been wearing this the last couple of days, actually. Not trying to be a copycat or what's that called, Jared? To cramp your style, you know, not trying to cramp Jared's style here, people, but it's getting a little chillier. Fall is here in Michigan. Leaves are turning some beautiful colors, and happy to have you back here, Jared. How's it going?
It's good to be back. Thank you. I have sensitive ears. I feel like my head is always cold. So yeah, I'm pretty quick to put on the hat when it turns cold, and it really doesn't come off until it turns warm again. And
even
spring.
when it turns warm, sometimes inside, don't you still wear it occasionally?
No, not in summer and stuff. No. Although there was one time at the beginning of quarantine. It was probably, it must have been March or April, like it was early on in the beginning. We did like a virtual happy hour, and I had my hat on, and one of my coworkers, I forgot, and so I just went out, I totally forgot I was on my head, and I went out to the virtual happy hour. One of my coworkers was like, "Why do you have a winter hat on in April?" And I was like, "Oh," I didn't even.
That's funny.
I was like, I totally forgot I had that on. I was like, "Oh no, it's just a little chilly in here." This is not about my head, though. This is about online dating and languages today, specifically, I guess. Please follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. If you were... spread a little love. If you pay attention to our Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, or Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1, maybe you saw our stories on Instagram. Also 5-star reviews would be greatly appreciated. Every now and again, I see that it does happen. Don't be afraid to write something. But I do see the numbers go up, so either way, I'm happy. Thank you. And dude, I'm sad. So I was scrolling through Instagram like I'm wont to do yesterday, and I see people from my old classmates from when I lived in Germany. They now live in England, and they're just at the bar, no mask. They're now back going places. I saw this story, and I'm like, and I was like, is this current? Maybe it's still up because it was yesterday.
Yeah, see if it's still up. I'm curious.
It blew my mind. But I think they might be back at it. Here, look.
At the bar with my friends. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my friends in the Czech Republic have been going back to bars for a while now.
Look at that. They're just living life.
But look, I see pictures of some of my friends in the States who are out at bars, and, you know, so...
But I don't get the same warm and fuzzy vibes when I see Americans at the bar. It's just shocking to see them maskless.
Yeah.
And so it's also interesting to me because it's like, oh, so you guys like trust what people say? Like, so your government's like, all right, we've got this under control. You can now go back out to the bars without masks on. They're like, all right, we trust our government. They told us it's been fixed. We believe them. UK bars open.
Well, if they've done their fair share of contact tracing and testing and everything over there, and it's safe, then, you know, maybe they're all right. I just know in the States, I'm pretty sure we don't have the data on, you know, contact tracing. I can't talk today, Jared.
So this
contact tracing, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
This is how it's going to work in the UK. Oh wait, this is the U.S. Never mind. I cut you off for no reason. Sorry.
You're good.
I want to know about the UK
how will
specifically,
it work in the U.S. though? What do they say?
What do they say?
Got to wear a mask? No mask?
They say it's not going to work. Using table service where possible instead of ordering at the bar. So this is at a bar, like you don't crowd at the bar.
That still doesn't work. I mean, I've gotten takeout and had to walk into a couple restaurants and bars on the weekends around here, and I've seen it be very crowded with people around. And when you're eating and drinking, you don't wear a mask, right? So,
sure, yeah.
So I mean, all it takes is one or two people there who are sick.
I still see people pull down their mask to have a conversation. Where it's like you can talk through the mask,
right?
I saw a woman.
It's hard to hear sometimes, though. I'm not saying you should be pulling down your mask, but I
understand. But I saw a woman talking on the phone in the line to the grocery store
with her mask down.
And she pulled her mask down.
The chin diaper.
She pulled it down once to answer her phone. I was like, "Do you know how good a microphone is on your iPhone?
Right.
I think I can hear pretty fine through this.
Probably.
Mask. Assigning a single staff member per table." Okay, well, that's just more cost then.
Right.
Encouraging the use of contactless ordering through apps, also more cost. Discouraging non-essential trips by staff within venues, such as between the kitchen. Okay.
How? Yeah.
This is just
Good
encouragement.
Yeah. And a lot of this, really, I mean, how are you going to have a running restaurant with a lot of this?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
some states are open. They're living life.
Right.
Florida. Did they ever even close down? I don't think they. I don't think they ever closed down.
Did you see with Florida? It was really interesting. They, I saw a video last Thursday, I think it was, where I think last Thursday they opened up the bars full capacity and they were packed. They had live music. I mean, it looked like people are having a great time. But I really hope everyone will be safe and healthy.
Well, from what I'm seeing in the news, it seems like it's under control. It seems like we have a government that is taking control of the problem and really addressing it.
Are you being sarcastic and facetious right now?
Half of the Republican Party is Rona. Yeah, I'm being facetious. I just can't say that word.
Facetious? It's a tough one. Tweeting from Herman Cain's Twitter account. Is that what's going to happen with Trump's account if things go south?
No one can tweet from Trump's account like Trump does.
I wonder, do you think
Herman Cain was just tweeting?
Do you think he actually tweets everything, or do you think there's a staffer that does it?
Okay. Because I was gonna say no, but it's very clear what he does tweet.
Right.
I think there's the clear stuff where this is just like they sent him something to tweet out. Like those are obvious, where it's like some sort of statement or something. But do you think he has like a employee that knows how to tweet the ridiculousness that he does?
Maybe.
It was like the left wing.
Maybe what if the employee was hired because they could write ridiculous things like that?
Chris Cuomo is a liar on CNN.
Right.
CNN's just full of fake news liberal liars.
Or like the
and then he goes to like, very good job, Marissa. That was a great tweet.
Or the
I'm liking your work.
Or the Covfefe tweet, right? They're like, we're gonna purposely misspell some shit.
She probably her name's Melissa. I assume she actually spelled it right the first time. She's like, no, let me fix that. That's a big word. That has 3 syllables. Let me actually
or hamburgers, or it was hamburgers.
Well, he actually just tweeted.
Oh yes, what did he tweet now?
He said, this one, people are getting really getting deep into this. I hope it's still up. Let's see.
I wonder if he'll continue. Well, he'll continue to be tweeting while he's in.
Well, this is what he tweeted from the hospital. Read that to me. See if you see
I think, thank you to all, love.
Do you see anything wrong with that tweet?
Going well, I think.
Okay. But I mean, grammatically, look at well. Look at the double L in well.
What about it?
Look at it. Do those L's look like they're the same size? That second L is a capital I.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Or the first one of them. I don't know. I don't remember which one.
You're right. One slightly different. Why is that? Why the hell?
How does that happen?
Oh my God. Unreal.
And now people on Twitter are like, what is he saying? What's the message behind this?
There's got to be some message, Jared, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Now that I look at it, it's hard to, unless I call it out to you, it's really hard to
You got to look really closely.
But yeah, one L, it's a capital I, the second L, for some reason.
That's funny.
I don't know how you even make that mistake. Are L's and I's even close to each other?
Kind of.
Kinda. I guess.
Kind of.
He kind of. People say a small finger.
He's tweeting it from his phone, right? He's not typing it.
He's probably tweeting it from a phone.
Right.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I'm sure whoever is in charge of his phone security probably has a lot of fun. They probably have a busy job.
I don't think there's. Do you think there's someone in charge of that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, like
For
his phone
sure.
security. Oh, like locking down. Oh, like cybersecurity. You mean?
Right.
Of course. I thought you meant like making sure he doesn't do anything.
No, he does what
Probably
he wants.
still. I can imagine him like
Right.
getting an email from like J. Crew and him just clicking on the link, just like
Right.
willy nilly, just any link, he'll just click on it.
Oh, I'll get buy one get one free.
Donald Trump probably clicks on a link. He's probably the reason why all these companies have to do these cybersecurity training. Like, listen, if you find a USB drive in the outside in the parking lot, don't just stick that into your computer. I could
or stick it in there and see what
Listen,
you
though,
can find.
If I were to find a random USB drive, I think it would be hard for me not to be like, I want to see what's on.
It's hard to resist.
But I would
Hard to
do
resist.
is I have the luxury of using I would probably use like an old crappy computer. Like I wouldn't use this computer and plug it
Right.
in. But I'd be like, all right, let me use this computer I never use anymore. That's just sitting
Buy
here.
a cheap computer.
Yeah,
just
on
for that
Craigslist.
purpose. Right. Go to Lost and Found, see what you can find.
What are you going to tell me about podcast saving children's life?
I was going to do a shout out. I was
Okay.
hoping you would hit me with that.
Spread a little
oh
love.
yeah, that's
Please.
missed that from the last one since we didn't really have any direct shout outs. But yeah, so as Jared mentioned, this is a heartwarming story about some pupils in Australia who have started a podcast, they have been listening to a podcast about mental health, which has helped school children a lot. And I just can't imagine right now being a child in these current times, Jared, with the coronavirus pandemic and a lot of other stuff that's happening. I think kids probably do have a lot of mental issues they need help with.
I've heard that at least I don't know what the proper term is, but like anxiety has been going up a lot in children from what I've been hearing. And it's weird too because it's a weird point where it's like I assume most kids, depending on the age, like they know something is happening, but you can't fully grasp what's happening, so you're just sort of like left in the dark to be stuck at home and you don't really understand why.
Right. And it's a hard thing, I would imagine, to explain to children. I mean, you have a highly infectious, deadly virus that...
And then you don't want to scare them, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But we live in a scary world, Jared. I hate to say it,
Listen, Timmy, we live in a scary world, and if you don't
Suck
stay
it
home
up,
and shut up, you're going to die.
oh, man. But, I
Look at our president.
I saw something online about this. This woman posted, and I completely agreed. It was one of the teacher pages I follow on Facebook, and it was like, to all of the parents out there who are having troubles with their kids and doing online virtual learning right now, put yourself in the shoes of your kids for a moment. Imagine in March, you go to school like everything's normal. The next day, you're taken from school, and you don't see your classmates again until you see them virtually.
Yeah.
For kids, that's a big life adjustment. I mean, for adults it is too, I guess. But adults, I think
we're expected to be able to adapt.
Right. And for kids, it's tough, I think. You know, and a lot of kids don't enjoy online learning. I mean, I've been doing online teaching.
Kids also aren't great at expressing themselves. They don't have all the terms, to express themselves like an adult should have.
Well, even if you have all the terms, it doesn't mean you'll...
That's why I, at the last minute, switched it to should have.
Right. Jared knew I was going to make a comment. He knew it.
Even as I was saying that, I was like, adults aren't... most adults I know are not that great at expressing their emotions.
Right. And so I think it's great, though, any way that, we can use... podcasting or music or film, literature, whatever, to make children, help them learn and just help them feel overall better and healthier, I think is a great thing. And so the story here, Jared, is this is actually a school in Sydney, Australia. These kids are about aged 12 years old at Woolhara Public School in Sydney. And they've been working with a company called Grow Your Mind to create the podcast that will offer any child or teacher a chance to learn about how to work through mental health issues and stay resilient. So I think that's fantastic,
Yeah.
I think we also try to help people with our podcast, whether it be through our stupid jokes, through our untranslatables, our shout outs. Maybe Jared thinks I'm crazy. He's giving me a facial expression like, what the hell are you talking about? But
listen,
maybe I have a convoluted opinion about our podcast. But anyways, I think the point here is, as a podcaster, I can relate to this and know the good of podcasts. I've learned a lot from podcasts. I know you have.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from doing this podcast with you.
Yeah.
And so I think this is really great. So shout out to all the students at Walhara Public School in Sydney, Australia, and the company Grow Your Mind, who's been working with them. I think that's awesome.
I mean, I'm not just the maker of a podcast. I'm also a listener, too.
You're quite the podcast listener.
Yeah, I'm an avid podcast listener. I think I'm top tier podcast listener.
Could you go a week without having headphones on you? No AirPods either. No headphones. Just a break, a week.
I was like, oh, you mean over the ear? Yeah, I can go a week without over ear headphones.
you know, hey, some people might try to go that route. You know.
Probably. If I had to, then yeah. I think it would be nice. Like I did go. I mean, not a week. It was 3 days or 2.5, 3 days or whatever it was when I was in the woods without headphones. I didn't even bring headphones, actually. I didn't bring headphones with me.
Not even your AirPods?
I did not bring any sort of...
Not in-ear, over-ear, around
yeah,
ear,
okay. Headphone, earphone, earbud, AirPod, no sort of... nothing.
Ear monitor.
No,
also no. Okay, just making sure, just double checking.
And so that was actually a weird adjustment when I was biking by myself, because I went for a bike ride in the morning by myself. I don't think I've ever... I can't tell you the last time I did that. It was just a weird...
I know this will sound like a very hippie question, but was it kind of nice to hear the sounds of nature? Or were you whooshing by so quick you couldn't hear it?
I think it was nice to hear the sounds of nature when I was back at the camp area in the hammock.
Okay.
And I just listened, especially since there was a river right next to us as well.
Get that flowing.
That was nice. I feel like I didn't hear as much.
Okay.
I mean, I was still in the wood. I was still in the woods. I just feel like I don't know. That's just my honest feedback.
Not gonna lie, I was hoping you would have come back with a fully developed lumberjack beard.
I wish so. I wish too.
But hey, you still had a great time, and that's
I've actually started noticing that I'm actually going the opposite direction on the top of my head. So that's scary.
You're losing your hair?
Yeah.
That is scary.
I'm not losing it to the point where I think I'm going to be bald in the next couple months, but I've definitely noticed, especially when I went bald for the first time, I watched it grow back in from scratch.
Right.
That it's definitely a little thinner in the...
Mine is too in the front. And
yeah.
It's going back a little.
And going bald, older. When I went bald and saw it growing from the beginning, I'm like, oh, I see how my hair actually grows now. And I don't like what I see.
You did look good though with the shaved head, man.
And I'll say this, off. That is very comforting. I was like, well, now I know that I won't be nervous to go bald because I've already done it, and I won't, and it doesn't look bad. So
right, I'm gonna do the full on.
It'll happen at some point.
I'm gonna do the full on comb over and or the old man ponytail. Gonna rock
the bald ponytail,
bald pony for sure.
Dude, I could 100% see you rocking the bald pony. You'll be in once you retire from teaching. You'll open up a guitar.
That'd be kind of cool, yeah.
And you'll just work on people's guitar and have a Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix blaring over the speakers when people come in. How can I help you, man?
Can call it Bald Pony Guitar Shop. Boom.
Yeah, I'll take care of that for you.
Gotta learn how to talk completely differently, but it'll be worth it. I think in the long run,
you gotta get a lot cooler real fast. Yeah. How you doing, man? You might have to start smoking cigarettes.
Okay, all right. Well, it's a risk you might have to take.
But you'll look cool doing it.
How about can we make a compromise? Okay, I was gonna say cigar, but old man pipe sounds better. Pipe, long beard, old man pony.
Yeah. I can imagine you pipe dangling, or even a cigar dangling from your mouth as you're deep into deep concentration, working on a guitar. It's a beautiful thought. And on that thought, I'm going to go to the untranslatables.
Ooh, let's do it. That's another very beautiful thing for sure, Jared. And untranslatables are idioms, phrases, axioms, adverbs, proverbs, words that do not translate on a one-to-one basis to English. And We are tried and true certified professionals. We both have graduated from the highly accredited Untranslatable University, founded by Chad and Jared Enterprises.
I'd be willing to go up against anyone in an Untranslatable off.
I think we would actually do pretty good.
If we were on a team as well.
Oh, unbeatable.
That'd be
The only problem is I think legit polyglots would smoke us because they actually, well, maybe not, because we do the literal translation. I think if you
right, and just because you know the language doesn't mean you know the untranslatable.
But I think you have a higher likelihood. I think it's more skewed in your favor.
Sure,
but I do think we would be able to hold our own.
But the language. But if we, I guess, yeah.
I think we would actually. You're right.
I think we could hold our own.
Though.
I think it would be a nice competition. Yeah. We need to make that a game show.
That would be a fun game show.
Yeah, hit us up, Netflix.
Untranslatable.
Quibi seems like they're down to produce a show that's probably going to fail.
There we go.
I don't know.
Perfect.
I don't understand what's happening at Quibi.
I don't know either. I don't know. That would be fun though, like an untranslatable game show. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
It'd be exciting. Yeah. Anyways, I'll get us started today, Jared. My first one for you is Russian, and it is Bez Tsaria v Golove, which means without a czar in the head.
Oh, it's just like someone that's is stupid.
What would we call it in English? What would our untranslatable be?
No one's home. No lights on.
Yeah. I was thinking it also has to do with head.
Like airhead.
There we go.
Airhead.
There we go. An airhead. But yeah, basically, yeah. Or the subject. It can also mean like the subject of this comment is brainless. So like you say something that's like you said.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah. So you said it like you said it without a czar in the head.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You said something without really thinking about what you were going to say.
Right.
A good aspect of the game show would be obviously, like Steve Harvey will give you an untranslatable,
right,
and then someone will buzz or something, and the first person to get it can, gets the points. But then to build on that, if you can give more untranslatables that are related, that are the same
bonus
meaning,
points.
Yeah, you can get bonus points.
Get some siren going off, bonus points.
Yeah, you're like, all right. Yeah. I'm gonna make a mountain on a molehill. Okay, yeah. I think that would be a fun aspect to it, or like a speed round or something.
That'd be fun.
Where it's like, all right, you're all tied up. We're gonna go to the sudden death, and then you just have to give as many. All right, just throwing out ideas. My first untranslatable is Haitian Creole, and it is Benyen San Cache Lonbrit. Bathing without hiding your belly button.
So that's like it's like not being afraid of who you are. You're showing yourself for who you are.
I'm gonna give that to you. It means have no secrets or nothing to hide.
Oh, that's good.
So you were very close. Yeah. Close enough where you get a full ham horn.
Ooh, all right. Not a half, not
bathing
a three-quarter.
without hiding your belly button. It's interesting because it's like, well, who hides their belly button while they're bathing?
Speak for yourself, Jared.
Don't look at my belly button.
That's right.
Look down. Don't look up at my belly button. Look down. All right, go ahead.
My next one is Flemish.
And
it is daar heeft hij geen kaas van gegeten, which means he didn't eat any cheese of that.
You're not buying what someone's telling you. It's like you didn't believe anything he said. I'm not eating any of that cheese.
I mean, okay. So why would you say that?
I'm not getting involved with that.
Why aren't you getting involved in that?
It's none of my business.
Okay,
it's not my problem.
No,
I didn't cause it. I didn't make it.
If you're more questionable about the person who's saying that, you might say that they. You might say that they didn't eat any cheese of that.
It's like an A and B conversation. So I'm not involved. I don't know.
No, it's like okay. Breathe, Jared. Clear your mind. Okay. Clear your mind. Stay breezy. Stay breezy. I'm going to try to explain this without giving it away. So, he or she didn't eat any cheese of that. So, we'd be talking. We've talked about maybe I might get a new car at some point, depending on my job prospects after my contract's done, right? If I stay in Michigan, I might get a new car, right? and I'm going to tell Jared, yeah, I'm going to get the Mustang V6 instead of the V8 because it only has one exhaust pipe instead of two, and the rims are 26 inches and
huge.
and it's a 4-cylinder engine instead of a 6. And she says, what are you talking about? You didn't eat any cheese of that.
You didn't eat any cheese. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about a subject you don't know much about. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Exactly. Yeah, because I do not know much about cars. I did know though that those rims would be way too big for a Mustang. Fun fact.
26s are like what like a donk has. That's like what
they're giant.
That's like what you get on like an Impala or something at aftermarket. Yeah, those are huge.
With some spinners on it.
The biggest you could probably get from a company these days are probably like 22, maybe 23. My next one is Polish, and it's Szukać dziury w wikalem. Looking for a hole in the hole. Looking for a HOLE in the WHOLE. Looking for a hole in the hole.
You're looking for a problem when there's no problem.
Yes, but what would we call someone that does that? There's it's not an untranslatable phrase, but we have a word that predates calling someone a Karen for someone that does what you're saying.
To nag?
It's not really a nag though. It's more like it's more like to be nitpicky. That's what it is.
Okay.
I didn't know how to. I have one more for you, by the way.
Ooh,
it seems like you're done.
I am done. Shut the laptop. I'm good.
This one is New Zealand slang, so I guess it's English, but we've never used this word. I haven't used this word.
Speak for you. I was about to say, whoa there.
I can't speak for Chad. Munted.
So like tired?
So either a person
or drunk.
That's one of the. That's what. Hold on. You betcha. That is one of the definitions of being munted. But you can also use it for something else too.
To be love struck.
You can also use it for excuse me. So it can refer to a person, meaning a person was drunk, or you can refer it to more of like an object,
like something's damaged.
Very good. Very good.
All right.
Yes.
Or rather,
brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's like you munted your car or something.
Right.
I learned a new word that they use in British people use, I guess, watching Formula One. Shunt.
What's
he
that
had
mean?
a shunt.
A mistake?
I think it means like a spin
shortcoming?
out.
Oh.
Like he shunted on had a shunt on that corner.
Oh,
and that means they spun out.
They spun out. Interesting.
Because I see that. I
straight shunting, Jared. You don't want to be shunted.
Because I heard it because I watch a lot of car stuff and I've heard it before. But I was like, well, what is that? What is a shunt? But now that I watch Formula One and they say it all the time, I'm like, oh, I see.
That makes sense.
I see. Munted or shunted. Maybe
that's where
they got it
which
from.
you might find if you're doing some online dating, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely gotten
some munted and some shunted
on an online date before.
I think what's really interesting is the stigma of online dating has changed a lot within the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, but I wonder. Yes, for sure. I mean, online dating initially had this stigma of being for losers,
antisocial, weird.
Yeah. You only meet
you
weird
can't meet anybody else.
Yeah.
You don't have any friends. Come on.
There'd always be the sort of the cliche joke where it's like, let's say we met here, or let's like we lie and say we met somewhere else, and make up a meeting story, a meet cute.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, now it seems like a kind of a normal process. Although I will say. I feel like there is still sort of that there's definitely a stereotype. Like different sites have different stereotypes.
Yeah.
What is online dating, Chad? First,
I mean, online dating would be trying to find a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or maybe really trying to find some type of companionship or something.
Yes.
With another individual. Via an online medium, whether that be an app on your smartphone, a website like eHarmony. We are not affiliated nor sponsored by eHarmony.
Farmers only. Sometimes they're themed.
ChristianMingle.com.
Yeah, Black People Meet. That used to be one.
Is that really?
I guess it still is. Probably still exists. But yeah, it used to be popular back in the early 2000s. Yeah, and so but I still think that like you're like if I were to say eHarmony or what's the other one? There's the one where they have the eHarmony is the one where they have the commercial with that.
Match.com.
Yeah, Match.com. If I were to say eHarmony or
I guess I
Match.com,
watch too much TV.
versus yeah, and all I hear, I can just think of the commercial. This will be an everlasting love. They always play that song.
Their
I
marketing
think the eHarmony
department
commercials.
Did their homework because they got you,
The
Jared.
best one I ever had before. Okay. So, if I were to say Match.com or eHarmony or Tinder or Bumble,
Way different.
those elicit
Way
very
different.
different groups of people.
Yep.
Very different
Age demographics.
purpose, goal. Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Because eHarmony and Match, it seems like it's only for people that are like actively looking for a long-term serious
I think the
relationship.
difference is
and you have
too,
to pay.
Exactly. That's
some of them.
exactly what I wanted to say. Is
Yeah.
the difference is, I think dating apps where you make all the participants pay, the
You're
outcome
going to
is
get a more
different.
serious group of people.
Right. Whereas like Tinder, Bumble, a lot of those are free, but I don't know if you know this, Jared, and I don't know if our listeners know this, but Tinder and Bumble, they are their core marketing strategy is towards men. What I mean is, if you look at the people who really generally pay for I did some homework before we did this episode. If you look at the number of people who generally pay for the unlimited swipes or the whatever, tend to be men.
Well, that's not surprising because at least from what I know, from what I've seen on like women's online dating, there's no struggle to get matched. Like it's not about. The problem is not getting not getting matches.
Right.
It's more just like sifting through and finding,
Yep.
a human.
Right. Well, see, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's a big part of it that is just, if you look at some women's dating profiles online, it reflects that exactly to a T, where it's like you see it and it's like, really? And then you think about it, it's like, yeah, okay, I know a couple dogs who would for sure, swipe on your profile.
Oh, I thought you were calling the women dogs.
No, I was calling the men dogs. I was calling
I know a couple
buddies
dogs
of
that
mine
could probably get a date with this sort of profile.
But
yeah. Well, and then that totally makes sense to me that it would be pushed towards men. What other facts did you hear from whatever you got your research from?
Well, so with a lot of online dating as well, there's tons of YouTube channels that document this. All you have to do is create a profile with even an average looking girl for online dating apps like Tinder and Bumble, and they had a metric. It was like crazy. But generally on a weekly basis, a decently attractive woman will get hundreds of matches every week.
I could imagine.
So
that.
if you just think about that though, Jared, put yourself in that position where you have 200, 300, 400 people on your, Tinder, Bumble, or whatever, in the matter of like a week or two. Imagine how some people that can inflate their ego big time.
I could imagine. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I feel like, I guess so. I guess I almost wanted to have more hope for people and be like, but they understand the people, but I don't think that's true.
But see, here's another issue. I think a lot of people misunderstand certain attention for other attention. What I mean is, if you are intimate or physical with a person, some people assume that means that you also want to be in a relationship. And unless you discuss that with someone, you can't just assume it nowadays.
It's funny that you say that because Tinder has always been called the hookup app.
Right.
From the get-go. Tinder... It's interesting because I feel like, much like we mentioned eHarmony or Match.com, those people are serious about a relationship,
right?
And they're willing to pay for it. People on Tinder it seems like it's always had the reputation as like it's almost weird if you're like, and people are, people do use it for actually hoping to find a real relationship.
Right.
But I feel like people almost kind of like look at you weird if you're like, why are you on here saying you're trying to find a relationship?
Right. Well, see, that's the funny thing though, is that men and women's dating profiles, especially on apps like Tinder and Bumble, they look and they have to look so much different. But what I find funny is, for some reason, a lot of dudes, there's the stereotype with dudes with either a deer they just shot or a fish they just caught.
Shirtless,
a lot of white,
gym,
selfie,
yeah.
right. whereas then you have the stereotype with a lot of women who have the filters.
Oh yeah,
the goofy looking filters, or you also see a long list of requirements.
Oh yeah,
Where you'll
sure.
see, I want a man who's 6 feet tall, who's this, it just has a bunch of requirements, and it's like, do you understand how that comes off? But at the same time, if you still are getting all these matches,
right? If
you know
if
what
it
I mean?
works,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Sure. I understand what you're saying.
But I find apps like Tinder and Bumble and those types of apps, in a lot of ways, they are very superficial. And as you mentioned, you know how people will say, like, what, you're looking for a relationship? That's why people kind of chuckle, because they are, in essence, very superficial.
Yeah.
You see someone's photo and you swipe left or right, depending on if you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And it's fun. Like, it's a fun game.
right? It is.
It's
to see who,
who are you gonna get? What kind of stupid things they say?
Right.
I don't know. It's a fun game. I'd say Bumble has had a downfall. I feel like
Really?
I feel like they used to be like next to Tinder, but I feel like it's just a different form of Tinder.
Right.
As someone that
has he used dating apps?
well, no. As someone that doesn't seem to like the dynamic that these sites force upon the gender, the genders. How do you feel about a site like Bumble that tries to flip it all on its head, and the women have to also. How does that work if it's like a gay relationship or something? Who initiates the conversation?
I've also wondered that. I would assume it could go either way.
Okay, yeah, probably.
I would assume just either person. It's
yeah,
like Tinder.
I imagine.
At that point,
But yeah, in heteronormative relationship situations,
The
the woman,
cis-
the cis
it
woman,
cis?
is responsible for starting the conversation.
right. So Bumble, okay.
I'll say this: it is always interesting,
Don't
because
we have a friend that met his soon-to-be his wife or his fiance via Bumble?
I don't know if it was Bumble specifically. I don't know which. I think
Either way, we're not here to judge.
I met my partner on Tinder, by the way. Just to
Okay.
be clear, I don't. If you're going to be out here shaming people,
Right. Hey, I met my ex on Tinder, so yeah, you can't. I can't shame at all. But my issue with Bumble is, one, I just never really had a lot of decent matches on there, and number two, a lot of the conversations were honestly kind of boring.
yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think the difference is a lot of the conversations I had via Tinder, I had to start them. So a lot of times, the way I view Tinder and
Every
all
now and
those
again on
sites-
Bumble, I did want to be like, yeah, it's harder than it looks, isn't it?
Right, right. Especially when girls complain when, all you say is like, hey, how's it going? Or hey, what's up? And look, I get it. I guess I understand the argument, be a little bit original. Or the way I look at it is I just don't take it that seriously at this point. Like,
Well, see, that's I feel like I got to a point on those sites where I felt the same way, where I was like,
Right.
I don't actually expect anything from this. Like, it's just
Right.
like it's almost like. It's almost like, okay, like if I'm bored, sometimes I go onto Twitter.
Right.
Sometimes I go onto Instagram. Sometimes I'll,
Hop on Tinder for a minute.
swipe through Tinder and see what sort of entertainment I can get. It's like a
Right.
form of entertainment.
Yeah.
And I think that's. I got to a point where I was also like, well, this you can't live like
Nope.
like what's even the point of this
Nope.
then? Like,
Yeah.
and it made me scared for society.
yeah. Well, I think dating apps have done a lot of bad, to be honest. Like there are some good things. Like I think one of the good things about a dating app is you do have the opportunity to meet someone that you may have never met otherwise, because
Sure.
we tend to stay in our friend circles, especially now being in the middle of a pandemic. People
It opens
aren't
you up
going
to
out.
a whole nother group,
Right.
a bunch of people.
Right. And I've met a lot of women I never would have met otherwise.
Sure. Most people I meet, I never would have met otherwise,
Well,
unless there was some sort of aid.
Right. So, but the difference is, back in the day, it was based on who was around you.
Sure,
You
yeah.
you go to a bar, you go wherever.
My friend knows this person.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas, Tinder and Bumble and all those apps have kind of thrown that by the wayside. But I also do think it makes people. I feel like nowadays relationships, are in a way kind of at a lower point where, because of these apps, people are. It's easy to be tempted. It's easy to cheat. It's easy to do all that stuff. And it's very easy to just kind of look and think that the grass is always greener, right? Like if you can always turn on your phone and then look and swipe, and then especially if you're a decent looking person and you can swipe and you get like it's
too
an ego
easy.
thing, right? It's not only is it too easy, but it's kind of an ego boost or a validation thing where
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying, but I don't like to look at it as like, oh, now my partner is easier for my partner to cheat on me. I don't know, because it's just it's like, so do you not trust your partner then? Is what I would ask you.
well,
I mean,
no,
obviously,
it's not-
you're not talking about anyone
Right.
specifically, but
it's not about that. It's just that the access has never been. It's never
Sure.
been so easy. And it's also never been so easy for people to have one night stands. And I'll be honest with you, I think, people, I get it. It can be fun, but at the same time, I don't
sound
think
like a gym teacher.
But I don't think in the
health
long,
class.
I don't think in the long run, it's a healthy
Yeah.
practice.
Well, you remember the Ashley Madison scandal? Ashley Madison is essentially a site for people to cheat, and
The info got leaked.
It got hacked, and a bunch of names got leaked, and it turned out that we all found out as humans that Ashley Madison is essentially a scam. That it's primarily, I think it was like 90% male, and then they
Right.
also have had some, I don't know if they're bots or what, but they also had like some sort of fake accounts in there, to inflate the amount of women that
Right.
that they saw on there.
Well, and that's the other thing with online dating. You have to be careful because there's a lot of scam stuff. Like if you look
Oh,
at
yeah.
any of the really sketchy mail order
pretty-
bride stuff.
They're pretty easy to spot though.
Yeah,
Like the pictures all have a similar kind
I
of
think.
vibe to
But
them.
see, I think because you and I are aware of that stuff.
we're young.
Well, right. I wonder those people who didn't grow up with technology and wasn't aware of these kinds of things.
It's like when you do cybersecurity training at your
Right.
company, and it's like, why do you need to tell people this? And it's like, oh, because people are clicking on these things.
Yep, exactly.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So, but I think the thing with online dating too is it just, I think anything in life you get so easily without any real effort, I think it just doesn't, it's not the same as like, say you meet someone you went to school with, or say you meet someone that's through your friendship group, right? You will have like some type of, kind of, how do I put it? You have some type of like center or anchor where you guys met, right? And you have some kind of common ground in theory, right? Not always.
So you don't like the idea of manufacturing relationships? You feel like
I'm
they're
not,
manufactured relationships?
I don't think they're necessarily manufactured. I think
Are you
it's
saying
just,
my relationship is not legitimate? Is what you're saying?
yes, 100%. And my last 3 haven't been. Yes, Jared, for sure. No, what I'm trying to say is it's just a different. I think the thing is too is not everyone is willing to be honest about their feelings, their wants, their needs. I think you got really lucky. I think you have a good partner who seems to me like she's been honest about all that stuff with you. But think about it. If you are on Tinder or any of those dating apps,
Right. It's very easy to present yourself however you like.
right? And
Yeah.
so if you could think that you and the partner you meet on that dating app, you're exclusive or you're whatever, and maybe you're not, and so that's why you need to really communicate and be clear with that partner.
Yeah, people are not, in general, people don't talk in relationships.
Right.
And so like that whole, what do you want from the relationship? Like, I feel like most of these online dating situations are not involving that conversation.
Right.
And then it gets confusing.
And then people's feelings get hurt. They feel used, whatever, because I think that's the thing. If I were dating coach Jared, the one thing I would tell my clients would be transparency. Tell that person
so
what
hard.
I know it's hard, but I remember with the girl I dated before I went to the Czech Republic, our first date, I straight up asked her, what are you looking for?
What are your intentions?
That's more or less kind of what I asked her. And later, we had been in a relationship for a couple of months, and she had asked me.
My intentions are honest.
Right. Well, no, she told me, she said, that question actually kind of intimidated me. And I was like, why is that? And we had met on a dating app. It wasn't Tinder. It was Coffee Meets Bagel is what it's called.
Yeah, I heard of that one.
And that's where we met.
Was that the one where you have to fill everything out? It's like a lot of filling out.
No, I think that's OkCupid, I think.
Okay, no, that's not.
Coffee Meets Bagel, there's not that much you have to fill out.
Okay.
It's a couple things. But anyways, and she said no other guy had asked her that before. Which doesn't surprise me. I mean, she was just fresh out of college.
You're a real man, so.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm trying to be here, Jared. But the thing with dating apps, though, is I think as a guy, my experience has been okay.
Hinge, that's what I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah. I've never used Hinge before.
Let me go through some of these lists.
Okay. Let's hear them.
Match.com's number 1.
Yep.
Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, OkCupid. Plenty of Fish. I've heard of that.
I've heard of Plenty of Fish. I think that's also an older one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that feels like it's been around for a long time. Hilly Dating. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, me either.
Clover dating app.
I've heard of Clover.
I've never heard of Clover. Scout. I've never heard of Scout.
Yeah, me either.
Some of these are starting to get a little janky. Okay, this is
Grindr?
Now it's definitely no, because the next one is Juicy Hookup, Friends with Benefit, and Dating App.
There we go. Hey, clear.
That's probably 98.9%.
It's all dudes.
That's probably 100%
dudes.
men.
Yep.
I should just.
It's all dudes and like 10 bots. They just get flooded.
Cougar
messages.
Dating App. 3Fun. That's a threesome app.
I'm sure
Swingers.
I'm sure there's also plenty of sugar daddy apps, which I don't know if those fit in a dating app or an ex. I don't know what kind of
Curvy
app
Singles Dating.
There we go. I'm sure there's lots of American ladies on that one.
Zeusk.
Never heard of Zeus.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, I don't even know if I should be saying these things on the
What?
It's crazy. I don't know if I'm exposing something about myself right now, but I just went through a lot of sort of janky looking hookup sites. One of them being BBW Dating and Hookup.
What does BBW stand for, Jared?
Big Beautiful Women. And after all of this scrolling, now I get to eHarmony.
Nice.
I feel like I'm exposing myself.
Saving the best for last.
And my phone's like,
that's how you know you're desperate. You get to the very end and it's like, well, all right, none of these look good. I'm still scrolling here. Oh, there's eHarmony.
Christian Mingle is even much lower down. It's like, yeah, we know you're not looking for the Christian sites. Ashley Madison.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of. But I think that this is a perfect example of. I mean, Tinder is I imagine doing the same things that a lot of these sites are doing, just not as blatantly appealing to men.
Right.
But this whole sort of like get on this site and you'll be having sex by the end of the night thing. That's all dude advertising.
Yep. And it's a big scam. I mean, it's ridiculous. The other thing is too about online dating, Jared, is there's this level of, I'm sure maybe it's happened to you. I've gone on a couple online dates before where the person you meet on the date is not the same person that was in the profile. They use pictures that are a couple of years old.
Very good with angles. Angles is the key.
Yep, angles, makeup, lighting, all that good stuff. And Jared knows very well personally, I'm terrible at taking pictures in general.
I'm not good at selfies. I can take a picture, but I don't know how to take a good selfie.
Right, yeah, me either. But I guess I don't know, neither of us are big selfie people anyways.
I don't know. It seems like when you and David take a lot of selfies together.
I was in the Czech Republic. Good times. Yep.
Oh, that's different. You're a completely different person.
This is work, Jared. This is work. This is hard work, blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh my gosh.
No, but the thing with online dating too is that sometimes I feel like it just lacks a level of personality, or like you're just basically an image of someone on a screen.
I mean, it's fair to say that the decision is almost primarily made off of what the pictures look like for most people, and then second would be, and it's set up this way, and then second would be, all right, maybe I'm kind of interested in the pictures, let me see what the profile says or something. Like it seems like it's, and all I'm agreeing with you in saying that the way that they're all set up for the most part, some of them they try to be different to try to get people to like read the stuff and not just make it who's hot competition,
right?
But like for the most part, like Tinder and Bumble and all that stuff, it is very like do you like what this person looks like? And it's like, I mean, if you want, you can read what they have to say. Click on
Right.
this. But here's an easy way to look at all their pictures because we know that's what you really want. So that it kind of clearly makes the substance of the person like second to what they look like,
Right.
which is a great way to appeal to our stupid human senses.
Very true. And I feel like at the same time too,
It's not all stupid to care about what someone looks like. By
no,
the way.
well,
Just
no,
be fair.
you are allowed to have preferences
Sure.
and be attracted to certain, looks and people. But at the same time, I feel like so much of it is just, it just seems very hollow, very shallow, very, in a way, kind of very vain. And I feel like a lot of I feel like an old man now saying this, but a lot of young people, I think all they're really thinking about is, some people are thinking about their notch count, how many partners they have. And I just don't think that's, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think it's, I don't know. I'm glad that I can say there were some people in college that I turned down, yeah. Jared,
I believe you. Okay.
Because I think there's this idea that we all should just be crazy and free and have fun and do all this stuff, but I think some of it does have consequences, and whether that be if you don't practice, doing it safely, you might have to go to the doctor and get.
I think the idea of Tinder really does remove that level of consequence,
Right.
Especially Tinder being the go-to one that they consider the hookup site.
Well,
at
you've
this
seen
point.
the Family Guy where Quagmire gets Tinder, right?
No.
Oh,
This I imagine is relatively new.
No, it's within the last couple of years.
Like 4, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
last
that's
probably
relatively new to
Okay,
me.
fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
Simpsons, I mean,
I just know you're
Family
up on
Guy's
a
been
lot of
around
stuff.
for like 20 years.
That's true. But yeah, so Quagmire gets Tinder, and he just has this influx of ladies going in and out,
Sure.
and he's
I remember when he discovered internet porn,
right.
and he never left his house.
Right. So, but the whole point is, I mean, some of that, although it's a joke, some of it's true. I mean, you can just have, if you're a decent looking person, and if you're a guy, if you have a decent amount of game where you know how to like kind of talk and joke and
Well,
flirt.
it is like a I don't want to say a skill, but it is like a.
Oh, it's a skill.
Yeah,
having
sure.
game. Yeah, you got.
Oh, I don't mean
some
having game, but even just knowing how to make conversation, like
Right.
meaningful conversation, because I'm terrible at
But
it.
see, that's the thing with Tinder, with any of the online apps, it's difficult because it's literally like, first of all, you may not check it very often. They may not check it. A lot of it's just like luck and timing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like even with my ex-girlfriend, like I remember she told me straight up, she was like, yeah, we matched within like an hour or a couple hours of me like downloading the app again or something. A lot of it is just kind of luck of the draw. I hate to say it, but and you could be a great guy or a great girl, and it just, a lot of it's timing.
How do you feel about the people on the dating apps saying, just looking for friends? In my mind, I'm like, there's got to be a better way to find friends.
Yeah, I would agree with that
You should
tenfold.
join a club or something.
Right. Well, I
Pick up a
think,
hobby.
I think the issue with that is if you're on a dating app or a hookup app looking for friends,
I
and
kind
you're,
of feel sorry for those people. I'm like, oh.
I do too, but when I see it with girls, I wonder, I'm like, are you really? Or are you just looking for attention?
Okay.
Because that's different.
Okay.
Sure. And I've seen plenty of profiles where you see someone, looking for friends only, or the people I feel really bad for are the people who either say in an open relationship, if they're in an open
I don't feel
relationship
bad
and
for them at
happy,
all.
then
I
that's
feel like
fine.
they're having a good time.
But well,
Or usually, I mean, what do you think that means?
I have a feeling, I think with a lot, I could be wrong about this, Jared, and maybe it's just because I'm closed-minded, I guess.
Yeah, you're really
but-
exposing your conservative views.
Well, I've become a little bit more conservative as I've gotten older.
Socially
with relationships.
conservative, economically liberal.
Right. And anyways, my whole point here is that I guarantee you, unless you really have a good relationship with someone, if you're in an open relationship or a poly relationship with someone, I guarantee you one of those two people are probably suffering a little bit because they caved into the other wanting to do it. I think sometimes what happens is it's kind of this risk cost benefit kind of analysis where it's like, well, I could lose this person that I really love and not have them at all, or I could share this person with someone else.
I could see that being something that would happen,
Right.
but I do not know about polyamorous relationships enough to say that that's like the common way that these things happen.
Right. And maybe they don't. I'm just thinking for myself.
Sure.
I wouldn't feel comfortable with my partner being with another person intimately.
And that's okay, Chad.
Right.
That's okay.
Right. But the whole thing is that I see a lot of these profiles on dating sites where it's like they're either an open or poly. I've even seen some that were like in a marriage but ethically non-monogamous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so why did you get married?
You match with them, and you're like, let me talk to your husband.
Right. That's exactly what I said. No, I don't.
Put him on the phone.
Right. I FaceTime them, get their number, FaceTime them. All right.
Are you okay with this?
No, I mean,
I'm going to do things to your
wouldn't-
wife that you could never do.
I
Are you
wouldn't.
okay with that?
I just don't swipe on them.
Jeff?
I just don't swipe on them. So,
Okay. Can I give you some facts about?
Yeah.
Let's discuss this. 3 in 10 U.S. This is from Pew Research, by the way, which seems legit. 3 in 10 U.S. adults say they have ever used a dating app. Now, this is of all ages. If you break it down by
Right.
age groups, more men than women, just overall, but only
that
slightly.
doesn't surprise me.
By age groups, though, obviously, the younger you get, the higher it goes. So, 65 and up is about 13%. 18 to 29 is about 48%.
Yeah,
which you can see
that
it's kind of
doesn't
low to
surprise
me.
me. You're right. I would think that'd be higher.
It's actually much more popular in the gay community than the straight community.
Yeah,
which
I
guess is
have a couple.
not.
I have a couple gay friends that explained to me actually because we were talking about dating apps and
Well,
they had-
Grindr was around before Tinder.
Right. Well, and I think some of it is it's more discreet. You know, like if you're especially with, some people who are gay that, I mean, it's kind of easy to tell, right?
Great way to find a Republican politician is a gay dating app.
Exactly.
Too.
I mean, that's my favorite way, But yeah, it's really crazy just I think because of the dynamics are so different. So an app kind of helps level that out a little bit.
Sure,
you know?
yeah. And I think it is for gay people, I imagine it's harder just to find each other,
Right.
And especially especially depending on where you're at, so
Sure.
it's just easier to find them,
Right.
And then it's actually used mostly by like people that are college educated. So it's used less by people that the less educated you are, the less likely you are to use it. Maybe that's access to the technology. Who
Could be.
knows? Maybe that's I don't know. You don't leave your town. A small share of Americans say they have been in a committed relationship with or married someone they met through a dating site or app.
Yeah, and that number is just going to get higher,
Yeah, sure.
I think.
I think it's becoming less and less stigmatized. It's becoming more of a normal way to meet people. Honestly, the idea of having a where did you meet story almost seems like soon it's going to be a thing of the past.
Right.
While online daters generally say their overall experience was positive, they also point out some of the downsides of online dating.
Which are?
That's a good question, Chad.
I
By
can
a
give you
wide
some.
margin, Americans who have okay.
Can I give you my own personal downsides of it?
Yeah, I have some too, I guess.
Okay, great. Number one, I would say is for a lot of people, it can be a big waste of time and a waste of money. If you, for example, like I know a couple guy friends we went to college with that had gotten Tinder, and they even they paid for the subscription, and they just weren't getting any matches. Some people just based on the algorithms and stuff, they just don't have any luck.
I think a downside for me was it gave me a pessim. Well, this is actually one of them. It says it turns people pessimistic and makes people insecure, frustrated. I think I didn't have a problem with insecurity. I know I'm ugly, and I didn't really get frustrated. But I think it made me pessimistic about the dating process a little bit. Where it's just, I think a lot of times I would go into dates being like, I mean, this is not going to be anything. Like this is like that would be my starting place. I'm like, this is not going to go. And I feel like just going in with that mindset is part of the problem. Just like, I mean, this probably isn't going to be more than a one-time thing. Let's be honest. And it's like, I don't know. I'm not even like hooking up. I just mean like I probably am not going to get along with this person.
Right. But you give it a try, and that's something.
But I'm constantly going into it like this is like I could also just stay home and enjoy my night by myself.
Right.
But I feel like
But
there's
see,
a chance I'm wasting my time.
You
right
and
now.
I would be happy with that. Not everyone is happy with that.
What do you mean happy? Oh, happy with that?
Like I think for us, you and I we aren't the type of people that have to constantly be around other people and constantly be going on dates, and you know what I mean. Like, but anyways, the the interesting thing though too about that is that when you have a date where you're going into it, like for me, some of those have been my best dates. When I
Sure.
had no idea, I was like, I don't even know if I really am super into this girl, but let's see if she's cool.
I think it is a good mindset to be in, not to overthink
Right.
it and then make it. Because I don't really get that nervous. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's.
right. But at the same time, I feel like nowadays, because of the accessibility and because you can, it's not that hard to go on a decent number of dates if you have these apps, if you know how to present yourself. There's a lot of things. I'm not saying it's easy, but what I'm saying
easier
is
than ever.
Exactly. And I wonder if that makes the quality of relationships better or worse. And I think I'm more of a believer of quality over quantity. So I don't think a lot of relationships means you'll have a good relationship. I wonder. Here's maybe a crazy thought or a crazy theory.
So,
Jared.
wait, so you're saying you don't think that the way to find a good relationship is just by
dating tons and tons of people. I think it's good to date some people, and
you obviously have to date some number of people,
right? But if you go on dates, imagine if you go on a date with like 500 people or 1,000 dates,
okay,
1,000 different people, right? By that 1,001 person, you are probably going to be so picky and try to compare. Like, I don't know how you can't go on thousands of dates and then not start to compare a little bit. We all compare based on our previous experiences, right?
Sure, but you're comparing to unfair degree at that point.
Exactly. That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Does
too
that make
much
sense?
information.
Right. And I think it, like, I've read some,
and if you don't know if you haven't found someone in those 1,000 people, it's like, what is it? Are you looking for, what are you looking
right.
for?
Well,
are you actually
right.
looking for something?
Well, and that's the thing is I think dating
and you're probably
apps,
the problem at that point.
Exactly. Is dating apps don't cause you to, or maybe they do. I don't know, but I feel like if you can get dates fairly easily, and maybe they're not even with a high quality person that you would want to spend the rest of your life with, or you think it would be a good relationship, you can still go on dates with them. You could, and if you're thinking of, I've read stories about women using Bumble and Tinder to just get free meals out of people. They have no intention of going on a second or third date with that gentleman or lady. I've heard stories of all sorts of people going on dates and just expecting the other person to pay. And so
I've been on one of those dates.
How did that go?
The bill paid, and honestly, before I probably would have paid for it, and I did, but even before
you didn't.
No, I think I did. Even before I had a chance to respond, she the person put it down and she looked at me and she gave me the eyes there it is.
Right. and
I was like, what a weird way to do that. You're like, go ahead. There you go.
Right. Come on.
But there were already signs before that this was probably not a great time.
That's
I actually I misspoke. So more people cite being frustrated than hopeful and pessimistic than optimistic, but more people cite being confident in themselves than insecure as a result of the apps.
Yeah, I could see that. Anytime you get the apps are designed to...
Getting a match feels good, especially as a dude.
Exactly.
Because it is more of a rarity. Right. Majorities of online daters say it was at least somewhat easy to find potentially compatible partners.
Right.
That makes sense.
But I will also say this, though. I think that the issue with Tinder and Bumble and a lot of apps that are more geared... I don't know if Bumble is, if you'd consider it a hookup app, but I think a lot of people would say, yeah, Bumble and Tinder both kind of are.
Follow a similar category.
Right.
To me.
And the issue with some of these, though, is that people just get an unrealistic view of themselves. I think an unrealistic view of the way the world works. And that's the thing, is that because you can just swipe and then match with somebody instantly, I feel like there isn't this... I just feel like
it's all happening too fast.
Well, not only that, but I think there's this level of a lot of younger people and people even our age don't always know how to stay committed to someone for a long period of time and how to work through issues and problems and make sacrifices and compromises for one another.
That's another thing I hated about the dating apps is I hate just extended conversations through text message.
Right. It sucks.
I don't even do that with my friends.
Right. Yeah. You and I, we just very
sporadically
text. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if we text each other during the week, it's mostly either a stupid meme or
Yep.
or trying to get out some like quick piece of information about the
podcast
pod.
related. Exactly. And that's the thing too, is that you can spend so much time on these apps, you know, just swiping and looking and hoping. And I don't know. I think for your time, for your energy, and for your money, I just don't always think dating apps are in someone's best interest. Like, I'll tell you, Jared.
But
Right?
I think a lot of people know that, and they don't use it for that. I think
Right.
it is addicting. It is fun. I don't know. Especially people our age. I feel like they're like, for the most part, people's expectations of what to get out of it are probably like controlled, I would imagine.
Right. Well, the other thing is though too is a lot of people. I just don't see a lot of transparency with a lot of these dating apps.
There's no reason for it.
Right.
You have to present yourself the best way, and for no one is presenting yourself the best way and presenting yourself honestly. Those don't overlap.
That's true.
For anyone.
Unless you're such a baller that you can present yourself honestly.
I guess so. Hats off to that person.
Right.
Women are more likely than men to categorize certain information as essential to see in other users' profiles. Now, I can go through some of that information.
I'm curious. So let's hear
Photos of themselves. So women are or need photos of the man way more than the men need of women, which is not surprising.
Wait, what do you mean?
So it's way more. It's more. I don't know what the significance is, but it is more important for women than men that to have photos of the person.
Oh, okay.
So maybe, you know, whether it be having a photo at all,
Right.
men are still more likely to swipe on a person that doesn't have a photo. Maybe
Really?
or maybe not having a good photo, where it's
Right. Okay.
like women. They
That
are
doesn't
citing
surprise
higher
me.
that like, I need to see
Right.
who you are.
Right. Well, I will say this too. I mean, on dating apps and in a lot of places in real life, I mean, the odds are stacked more in the women's favor.
Sure.
You know.
Well, they
can be more
for their
picky.
safety.
They can be more selective.
and because of their options, they can and have the option to be way more picky.
Right, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, sure. Especially, yeah. I mean, it's their safety's on the line, and so it makes sense.
Right.
Type of relationship they're looking for. Women are way more interested in seeing that on a profile than men. Not surprising.
That doesn't surprise me.
And that actually
Yeah.
seems like it's pretty significant.
I really wonder, though, if men wrote looking for a relationship on an app like Tinder, I wonder if that would actually... One, I wonder if you would get
I
more
bet that
matches,
help-
and two...
Well, it depends.
What I think it would do is it would only attract women who are more into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want a relationship, it probably
Right.
helps. But,
But I wonder
don't
how
do
many-
that trying to get more matches if you don't really want a relationship.
But how many women on Tinder are really on there just for relationships, you think? I think that's a small percentage. I would be willing to bet
Okay.
you.
All
Because
right.
I think there's a large percentage of girls who just use Tinder to get likes, get matches, get attention. Right?
Oh, like I said, it's just sort of like fun, and it's just
Exactly.
Okay,
100%. Then I think there's some that are trying to have some fun, have a good time. Mm-hmm. And then there are some that are looking for a
But
relationship.
you think that third one is the smallest group?
the relationship group would be.
It's probably I feel like it's about the same size as the ones looking
For
to
fun
have
or-
some fun.
oh.
Because I don't know. I don't see.
You'd be surprised.
Listen, I think
You'd be surprised.
once again, I feel like I'm just exposing myself. If they have children, now this is pretty close though. But women want to know more than men, but it's still pretty close. About hobbies, religious beliefs, women care a lot more. Racial or ethnic background, women care more. Occupation, women care a lot
I think
more.
men just are less
Height,
picky.
Political, yeah, of course.
Just less picky.
Of course, men are less picky.
And dating and the dating apps just manifest this. Just proves that all these things are true.
Sure.
I
There
would say.
are stark gender differences in the amount of attention online daters say they received on the sites or apps.
Well, have you
as
heard
we've talked
about? Right? Did you hear about? This was a really funny. There's a YouTuber named Alexander Grace, and he has in his channel he does a video where this boyfriend and girlfriend that are friends of his, they both use Tinder for the other person. So the boyfriend uses a Tinder for the girlfriend, creates the account. He creates it how he thinks a guy would
trying
want.
to get her matches.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's the same for both. And I think he got I forgot how many it was. It was like 300 matches within like a couple of hours for his girlfriend, right? And his girlfriend's an attractive woman, but he's a good-looking guy as well. And he got some, she got some matches. Well, you're probably looking at Alexander Grace, not at the boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know if it's in the thumbnail. Did you find it? Type in Alexander Grace Tinder experiment. I bet you'll pop up.
I think I actually did see it somewhere in there. Now that I think about it.
But the point there is that men and women can be. It's a whole different ballgame, you know. But the issue is that I think for a lot of people, men and women both, they take relationships a lot less seriously. One, and I'm not saying you personally, Jared. But, if you date someone that you met on a dating app, some people, I think, do view it in a different way.
I do, too. I mean, not at this point, not if I'm living with the person.
Right. Well, and you guys have been together for a while, too.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. But, like, in the beginning, I definitely do, too.
Did you guys have, like, sorry to get really introspective here, did you guys have the discussion, like, we're both going to stop using our Tinder accounts, like...
Yeah. The way it went was she was like, just so you know, I'm deleting mine. But it was like
okay.
Just so you know.
Right. I think she approached it the right way.
I'm not going to have mine.
Right. And Jared was like, what?
That would be an interesting choice.
Swiping. No.
Yeah. All right. That's all right. Cool.
Cool. All right. More people out there for me to meet.
You're clogging it up anyway.
You're using all of our Wi-Fi, all of it, everything. Yeah.
Younger women are especially likely to report having troublesome interactions on online dating sites. Shocker.
Surprise me. There are a lot of creeps and weird people out there, man. A lot of them.
They say Chris D'Elia is one of the biggest. No. Americans have varying views about the safety of online dating. Sure, of course. I mean, there's definitely going to be, they're more concerned about the safety when it comes to, being a male or female, obviously.
Right.
Women are more likely to say it's not safe. The younger you are, the more likely to think you are that it's safe.
Because it's more normal.
Yeah, essentially, the more you conform to society's, like who you should be society-wise. Because now I look like, if you look at it, although actually, surprisingly, well, I break from that because white people claim to be that they find it more safe than Black and Hispanic people, but then. Gay and LGBT community claims that it's a lot more safe than straight people do, and I think it's because there is the safety of, as you said earlier, it's like one, it's easier to find, it's
more discreet.
More discreet. Yeah, you don't have people in your business.
Right.
So yeah, and then more than half of Americans say relationships that begin on a dating site or app are just as successful as those that begin. But they say more than half, but it's 54%. That's pretty close. It's not a lot more than half.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I think we'll see more and more people continue to find, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, hookups, what have you, via these. I don't think these dating apps are going away.
Do you think it's becoming weirder to meet people in person?
A little bit
of approaching someone in person is getting a little creepier.
That is a negative aspect, I think, of it to some extent, because I don't think there's anything wrong or creepy about saying to someone, my name is so-and-so. I think you're attractive. I'd like to take you out sometime, or I'd like to get to know you. What's creepy about that?
I don't think that option has fully gone away, but I do think it has gotten weirder.
It's abnormal,
and I do think it's limited. Like I do feel like where you can do it is. And listen, I was never someone to do this anyway, so I'm not talking about like you can't do anything anymore.
Right.
But like
Jared was hollering at girls from his car.
But like,
hey yo, baby!
If you're at a club and a guy approaches you or something, I guess that's not that shocking. But now like at a grocery, I don't know, at a grocery store, at certain places where it's like you can't like. It's weird. But having a stranger approach you and just try to strike up conversation is becoming weird.
Well, I think there's two things that need to happen for this to...
A pandemic needs to end, first of all.
Well, yes. Well, no. Number one, I think men need to develop better social awareness and understand if they are making someone uncomfortable, and just take the L and walk away.
Yeah.
Don't get so caught up in, there could be...
Don't take it personally.
Right. There could be tons of reasons why she didn't want to talk to you or she wasn't interested. And a lot of times it's not necessarily personal, you could have ran into her at the grocery store when she was in a rush and didn't have time, and you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different reasons why.
Sure.
So number one, men need to learn how to sometimes just take the L.
Take no as an answer.
Yeah, just take the L. Respectfully take take the no. You know, no means
you're
no.
ugly anyway.
Right.
Like
don't
that?
do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. The other thing is though too is that, and I think guys need to understand that a lot of women also a lot of women get approached often. Or at least in the past, I know, attractive women would get a lot of guys hit on her and approach her and whatever.
Yeah.
And so you need to be
catcalling was not a foreign thing where I lived in Philadelphia, or
Right.
Philadelphia in general.
And so guys need to be cognizant of that. But at the same time, I think women need to also put themselves in our shoes a little bit and also think about the amount of courage it takes just to go up and talk to something, not everyone has the social skills to do that, number one. Number two, this could be a great person, and just being able to get out of their comfort zone to say hello and say, look, I'd like to get to know you, and maybe we could have a meaningful relationship as we get to know each other. I think that's
Is that how you approach someone in a grocery store?
Yes, 100%. Yes, I say,
I
hey,
like
do
to
you
get
know?
to know you, and I think we could have a meaningful relationship.
Right. I say, hey, do you know where the ketchup is? By the way,
I
yeah.
can never seem to find raisins in a grocery store. That's
See? Now-
never.
See,
Now's a great way to strike up a conversation.
I'll try that. I'll try that next time and just see. Excuse me, miss. Do you know where the raisins are?
Yeah, she's like over there.
Right.
Like,
Get away. Yep.
Okay,
But
thank you.
No. But I think the thing is that approaching somebody shouldn't be looked at in such a negative way. At the same time, people, if you are approaching someone, don't be that reason why it is casting a negative light. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah,
Like, don't
yeah.
approach someone and say something really, really inappropriate or really gross or whatever.
Speaking of gross,
Mm-hmm.
Louis C.K. had a joke about ironically, that he's like, I don't know why women date men,
Right.
because statistically speaking, the greatest danger to
is
women
men.
are men.
Right. It's true.
And it's like, it's kind of stupid to even go on a date to date men, because you're just putting your life into your hands every time you do it. And I thought was a good joke. Thought it was a good joke.
Yeah, but
He said it better than I did.
any good joke is good because it has a level of truth
It
behind it.
seems like it really is
And it
fitting for
does.
him too,
Yeah.
because he,
Well,
seemed like he creeps some people out a little bit.
Right. But yeah, I think
Believe
that
it.
the thing with online dating is the other thing that we haven't mentioned is the good looking and the above average people tend to flourish on
Sure, of
online
course.
dating, and I feel really bad for the people who are like
And those that know how to take a good picture.
right. Yeah. Or
You gotta
even-
we didn't talk about the pictures. So
Right.
there's a couple different categories that I could think of off the top of my head. There's the professional picture, you're in a suit or whatever you wear to work or
Right.
whatever. There's
Jared
the,
rolls up in a suit still to his office in his house, by the way.
There's
people.
the active picture, so whether that be at
Rock
the
climbing,
gym,
hiking,
you
soccer,
play a
right.
sport, yeah. There's the group friends at a get together,
restaurant, a bar, somewhere they're all together
at a party to
wedding.
show that you have fun.
Right.
So maybe you got a cheersing, a drink in your hand.
Right.
Yeah, a wedding is a popular one. That's it.
Yep.
But the reason I brought that up is and
If you have a pet, you have
Yes.
a pet picture
Yes.
as well,
Yes.
or like
Dude.
younger family maybe.
that might be one of the greatest tip pictures for dudes is put
Have
your
a pet.
pet in there.
Yep, if
I'm
you
sure
have
you
one.
put your dog in your Tinder
She's
profile.
not actually.
Really?
She's not. No. Nope.
That's a
Prudy's
bold
not
move.
There.
It's a
I
bold
know.
move.
I'm confident in my abilities, Jared.
You don't need to rely on a dog.
No. Actually, on mine, I think mine are just a couple of me. One is of me in Prague. Me playing guitar. I'm trying to think of the other ones.
We
I
do have
on
some good pictures from our trip, our Europe trip last year.
Oh yeah. I'm wondering if I used one of those because I was still single then, and I was still using Tinder when I was in the Czech Republic, with mixed results. If we're being honest,
How does Tinder work in foreign countries as an American?
Sometimes pretty good. Not to be a jerk.
I
but
imagine how does it work in China? Because
China's tricky.
Americans
China's-
or white people especially are very fetishized.
China's really tricky because Tinder is technically blocked. So you have to use a VPN to access
but it's still usable. It could still
if your VPN works. Yeah.
right. But you don't really have. Do they have dating apps
Yeah,
in China?
Tan. I tried it out for a little bit, and then I got a like that looked too close to one of my students, and the way Tan works is you can see when people like you, and And so, and I got a notification like so and so likes you, and I was like, that looks an awful lot like one of my students. And I was living within a mile away from campus. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna shut this down.
That's a good time to get out.
Yep. So I didn't want to have that reputation as that professor. On dating apps with my students, because word gets around quick.
I wonder, how does that not happen more these days?
I'm sure it does, kind of. I mean,
I guess so. I mean, I'm not a teacher,
right?
So
Well, I saw one of my colleagues in the Czech Republic on Tinder. And it was really awkward because she was, well, maybe, I guess it's not awkward, but she was.
You're both adults. You're on this. Right. You're on it too.
But she was 38, divorced, and just a little different.
Is it, you're saying it's sadder?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Maybe sadder isn't the right term, but it's just different. You get.
I really walked you into that. I don't know why
you did.
I did that.
I feel really bad. As I've mentioned, I feel really bad for the people who say here, my husband and I are looking for a +1. It's like, I wonder.
I don't feel bad for people looking for a +1 in the slightest. I feel like it is not. I feel like those people have an endless supply of people that are, especially if you're looking for a dude.
Right.
I can't imagine it's hard at all to
Probably
find
not. I just,
+1.
For me, I wonder. Like, once again, all of this just goes back to transparency, right?
You just think anyone trying to find a +1 or they're in a
do anything nefarious
open relationship. You just think that someone in this, either you're essentially cheating or the other, or you're like, not you specifically. You just think someone is not voluntarily in this situation.
No, what my concern is I wonder, how many people are on Tinder and their significant other doesn't know. Yet
I'm
they
sure that's
frame
a huge
it
portion.
right.
Oh.
They
that would be
frame
an interesting way to frame it. I feel like if I were to be, I don't know. I feel like it would be easier just not to bring up the other person at all.
Well, and then when you see like you're on Tinder and it's like, I'm on Tinder, but I have a boyfriend, so I'm only looking friends. I'm like, really?
I don't understand that at all.
I don't
I've
get
seen
that either.
before too.
Yeah, like there's no way.
And like they'll even post like pictures of them and their
significant
other.
Like,
this is so weird.
It makes me feel uncomfortable, to be honest, because I put myself in that position.
Just imagine if you're like hanging out with your new friend. It's like, oh, this is my friend Jared. I met him on Tinder.
And here's
this
my
is
boyfriend.
my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Like my ex and I both, like, neither of us would have been cool with that.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I really don't get that at all.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I just think it, like, online dating, at least the dating apps seem to, I think, to just recap here, I think they give a lot of people an inflated ego. I think.
So you think it's doing it's not helping society. It's pushing society in a bad direction.
I think there's good and bad. I think that's one of the bad sides of it. Is I think a lot of people, it boosts people's ego that maybe
don't need it.
Right.
Your ego's fine where it's at.
Yes. Thank you. That was a much nicer way to put it than what I was going to say. So I really appreciate that, Jared. The other thing, though, too, is that I think the fact that a lot of young people can be intimate, you can be intimate with anybody. If you are intimate with anybody, I think it loses some of the... Sure. It's just not as special.
Conquest.
Well, it's just, it's... I don't know. I wonder, like... in 20, 30 years, what will some of these ramifications be? I guarantee you there's probably going to be more single parents out there.
Yeah,
because
sex
of it.
will be less. But I do think it'll help sort of destigmatize sex a little bit.
Which is good.
Maybe.
Which is good, but...
Or just make people do it more sneakily.
Right. It's hard to say. And I just really hope everyone out there... I think there's some mental health issues with some of these apps too, that for sure some problems can be caused. A lot of issues.
I wonder about kids. Like, it seems so easy for like young people that now kids are getting. Now I sound like old, like you. People are getting now kids are getting phones at such a young age, and it's so easy to fake your age.
Right. Well, that's an even scarier thing to talk about because can you imagine you match with somebody who you think is 18? And they're 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever. I mean, some people, with makeup, and you look at some of these kids that are 14, and it's like...
face filters.
Right. And it's like, holy crap, you look older than that. I just really hope that the people who do decide to use these apps are using them not to play with people's emotions, not to hurt people, not to...
I think we still need to, at some point, as a whole society, there needs to be like a look at our relationship with technology that I don't think we're fully and like it's
happened so fast.
I don't think we fully have a understanding of what we're doing to ourselves.
Not at all.
Psychologically, like as a group.
Right. Yeah, we don't. And this is all so new. It's really hard to tell.
Sure, yeah.
But I worry that a lot of people, especially young people, will pass up on good relationships with good people because they know they can just hop back on Tinder or Bumble or whatever and find somebody else. You know? It took me, honestly, man, at least 2, 3, 4 weeks of like solid thinking before I ended things in my previous relationship. You know, whereas, and for me, like it was, and I really do think her and I really did try our best to make it work, and it just didn't work, you know, and at the end of the day, that's okay. But I think a lot of younger people, you know, you wouldn't be willing to try to...
It is what it is.
Right, and you wouldn't be trying to really put any effort forth because, once again, this goes back to the whole, if you start a relationship with not much effort, it won't... I really think it won't take much effort to end it. I'm not saying that men or women should be like playing hard to get and blah, 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 but the natural way life works, Jared, nothing happens instantly, you know, but yet you're able to hop on these dating apps and almost instantly find a quote unquote partner.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I think that has a lot of implications that we haven't really discussed or thought about too much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel the same way. I definitely feel the same way. Just when I because as I mentioned before, I feel like that's how I kind of ended up feeling a little bit, where I, you know, going into these dates with like, you know, whatever, like not even really thinking about like that it would mean anything,
right?
Just because it's like I don't know, I'm not actually gonna get a relationship out of this,
right? And there's just something different.
So maybe I was looking for friends. Maybe I should have put just looking
maybe
for friends.
Well, you wouldn't have your partner now, maybe, but you know what's interesting though too is that I really wonder if there is some merit to meeting somebody and. Like, I guess my advice maybe to someone who does decide to use some of these apps would be build a relationship with that person or do something more meaningful than just get a cup of coffee. I mean, if that's all you want to do the first time, sure. But what I'm trying to say is I don't think you can build a good relationship with someone if you just do ordinary, boring things all the time. Like if you think about it, somebody you meet through your friendship circle or through like a club or a sports group, you have accomplished something with that person that both of you have some stake in, that both of you could be proud of, that both of you, it brought you closer together, right? Whereas if all we have in common, if you and I were to date, if all we had in common was we matched on Tinder, that's not enough.
There's 4 pictures.
Right. That's not enough. You need to do more.
I understand. There's no base there.
Right. Exactly. And so I think in a society that to me seems to become more and more superficial, I think there are a lot of people out there who are easily swayed, and they may do things that are very superficial, but they may not want to actually live a superficial life. Does that make sense, Jared?
Sure. They're living a superficial life, but they don't know it.
Right. And it's just because things have become so normal.
Right.
Where we base so many things on a superficial level that a lot of younger people, you know, I just think the next 5 to 10 years. Imagine dating for these people, you know.
I mean, technology is solving problems, some real problems, some problems we don't have. And I think one of the problems maybe that it has that is solving that we don't really need solved is just like this idea of instant gratification.
Right.
And it's just like everything needs to be faster and faster, and like we need to cut down on waiting times. And,
right.
And I think that's what a lot of what technology is solving these days. And it's like, sometimes it's like, I don't know.
Faster is not always better.
Solving problems that never existed. That's what they say.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, faster is not definitely better.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess some tips for people dating or using dating apps, I would say would be, as you said, good pictures. Have some decent pictures. Have some variety. Also, too, I would say you don't need to have like, I don't know, have a profile that like you attract what you are, right? So I mean, there might even be something, Jared, to this looking for friends. I know we laugh and joke about it, but having a profile, design a profile or make yourself presentable in a way which would attract the person you want. So if you're looking for a fling, I mean, I can tell very easily when I see a girl's profile on there what they're looking for, just based on their pictures. You know, I mean, if they're posting a lot of provocative pictures, not always, but generally speaking, they're going to be looking for something a little bit more fun. You know, not always, but I mean, it's you are what you attract.
Yeah,
you know.
Can tell. I can tell from like party pictures, like a lot of
Right.
alcohol.
Yep.
In pictures.
Yep. Or if they're smoking, like doing drugs or
yeah, I guess if
do
they're
that
doing
on Tinder
drugs, they're
too.
probably a good time.
Right.
Or if they have the numbers, the balloon numbers for the birthday.
Oh,
It's a
yep.
classic one. It's
Yep.
classic.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, and dating apps kind of do take away this taking it slow.
Yeah.
It's a whole different kind of, but the pandemic I think has also thrown a wrench in things too. So
I mean, for young people don't care about the pandemic for the most part.
That's true. Maybe we are getting old, Jared. After this episode, I'm gonna get like a bunch more gray hair probably, and Artie will feel.
I'm gonna take off my hat and be like, oh, all right, I'm bald now.
Right.
It's just like that.
Well, you know what will keep us young though, Jared?
Some music.
Yeah, and
I
especially
agree.
the song of the pod today, which
agree.
is oh shoot, darn it, Jared, I forgot their name now.
It's up on
It's,
this computer, isn't it?
Is it? Is it?
Did you close it? Yeah, there it is.
I didn't.
Silent
Siren. That's it.
Attack.
And the song is called Attack. Do I dare attempt to play it, or are we gonna mess up the recording?
It's not going to mess up the recording because
don't think
now
so?
it's going through the same computer, so we'll hear it through the headphones,
Right.
won't we?
What I'm saying, yeah, but no. What I'm saying is,
you're fine. Turn it down a little. Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys can't hear it, but we can. You can listen along with us on
Right.
the
You
Song
can-
of the Pod playlist.
that's
on
right. Check
YouTube.
us out on YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast. But yeah, so the song is called Attack by the group Silent Siren.
How would you explain this genre-wise?
It's all over the place. That's how I would describe it. So it starts off with like a funky bass line, if I remember correctly. Yep.
This kind of sounds like the beginning of a Red Hot Chili Peppers
It does.
song.
It's like this thick, slappy bass line,
Mm-hmm.
and then the drums and everything just hits at once.
Yeah.
Really high energy.
Kind of sounds like Panic at the Disco or
A
something.
little
now.
bit, yeah. Yeah, like a lot of emphasis on the crash cymbal on the drums. Yeah, it's very high energy, but then it slows down again a little bit. At least it's just drums and bass and singer, I think.
I like that.
Sounds like-
I like that beat that it has
Yeah.
in the background here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The drum.
The drummer for this group is, I mean, they're all fantastic. I think it's 4 or 5 women from Japan who play in this group.
Looks like 4.
Yep. But yeah, it's super catchy.
It
And the
is.
funny thing is though, is that this song takes you on a journey. There's
It
like
does.
these ebbs and flows. But whenever the singer's in there, and I don't know if it's just because so much anime that I've seen always has a Japanese, usually a female singer,
Mm-hmm.
it makes me think of that. But we've talked about too, this sounds like an epic song you would hear at the end of like a video game or like a boss battle.
Yeah, or like an anime where like someone's running, like where they run with the sword dragging on the ground.
Yep. Or their arms behind them, Naruto style. They're just running, and the shot like pans up, and you just see them running. Like,
Or
for a
I
long
imagine like
distance.
Dragon Ball Z where they like hit the ground and there's
yep.
like the giant, and then they get up again, and then there's like and I don't
Right.
know. I could totally, and then they go Saiyan, Super Saiyan. I
Right.
clearly don't know Dragon Ball Z, but yeah.
But yeah, this song
I almost
is like
didn't even
high
want to go there
energy.
because it seems like such a stereotypical
But
comparison.
that's kind of the vibe you get
It is
from
the
the
vibe
vocals,
I get,
like
and
the
I did say it
sounds.
off mic too,
Right.
so I might as well be honest.
That's true. We did talk about transparency today a lot,
Exactly.
Jared, so we might as well be transparent. But yeah,
I'm
it's
just
a
looking
great
for friends.
Right. It's a great song though. And I think I don't know what they're saying obviously because neither of us speak Japanese, but
Right.
like Attack I feel like is an appropriate title just
Yes.
the way the music is. Like
Yes.
there is an attack to it. It's not heavy like heavy metal or deep or growly, but
But it
it's
seems like you're going on like a journey that
Right.
needs to be won.
right. Oh, apparently I need to breathe, Jared, according to my watch.
I saw that pop up there. Is that what that was saying?
Did it pop up there too?
The
It should
Google-
only-
something popped up there.
that might have just been a Google notification.
But I saw your watch. It doesn't matter.
Oh, you're right. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
that does
yeah.
pop up there. Anyways, gotta stay connected here.
Yeah,
Jared,
there's
but,
so many. You're very
Yeah.
connected.
but yeah, this is a great song. Silent Siren Attack. Check it out on our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast. You won't be disappointed. That is for sure.
You betcha.
Well, Jared, to all of our listeners out there, we hope you have been able to. Well, if you choose to do online dating, that you've enjoyed it and have some fun or can meet some good people out there. For those of you who abstain from online dating, I also understand where you're coming from. It can be a crazy place, that is for sure. If you have any crazy stories or want to let us know about your experience, or if you need some tips, I guess, let us know at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com.
Don't ask me.
I will make sure to forward all the tips to Jared. If you really want to give Jared your tips, hit us up at Untranslatable1 on Twitter. You can also find us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, for pics, clips, all sorts of great stuff. So, as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania. And stay safe out there, people. And stay hydrated and stay breezy.
So yeah, that date where she looked at me and she's like, well, it ended prematurely in downtown Philadelphia. We were walking to some restaurant or something.